matter. Black Lives Matter, everybody. Black Lives Matter. We'll make sure.
We said Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
We're going to start off with some chants. Black Lives Matter!
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 What do we want? When
Justice!
do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
No justice!
No peace!
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 No racist!
Police!
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 Hands up!
Don't shoot!
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 Glad to see y'all brought some hands.
Make some more noise. Let me see y'all make some noise. You gotta make sure they know that we're here. What are we here for? Black Lives Matter! Right, that's right. My name is Drew Barkley, and welcome to the Jackson Peaceful Protest. Before we get started, I want to thank you all for coming out here tonight. Make some noise for yourselves. Make some noise for yourselves. Make some noise for yourselves. Come on, y'all can get louder than that. Make some noise for yourself. This is the Peaceful Protest, but that don't mean you can't be loud. That don't mean you can't be proud. That don't mean you can't be loud. That don't mean you can't be proud. Let me make sure I can hear it. Make sure you can hear that. So like I said, I want to thank you all for coming out here tonight. I want to thank the beautiful sponsors that we have here tonight, the beautiful donators that we have here tonight. I want to thank the Jackson Police for supporting us right now here tonight. I want to thank the community right now for making sure that they know that we are here for peace. And until there's no justice, no peace, let me hear you say that. No justice! No justice! No justice! That's right, that's right. Let's get started. Let's hit them with that mission statement.
Like Drew said, we thank you all for coming out here. I specifically want to thank my brothers, Daniel Nyblack and Elliot Bell. They had the idea to set this up for young men of the community, young men of color, black young men in this community to speak up and want to be the ones to set this up. That says a lot, because we didn't start this issue, but we are certainly here to finish it. When they said we want to start a march in a place where and a protest in a place where we have experienced racism, I knew exactly what they meant. So we got together with a group of our friends and we made a mission statement for exactly what our mission is today. We are a collective of liberators in response to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless others who have been senselessly murdered and harmed at the hand of those sworn to protect and serve the community. Through the usage of our basic right and to pursue happiness and a well-rounded education, we aim to assemble and hold an open forum for peaceful expression. We are proud residents of the Jackson Township, sharing triumphs within education, athleticism, community, and unity. Though we have all relished in those victories, they are tainted by experiences of discrimination and bent bias, of which we will no longer silently digest. We believe this assembly can influence and end to complacency and spark the vital and uncomfortable discourse of national and local racism. We believe in the power of impactful social demonstration. We are working towards a community free of discrimination and led by unity. We believe our Black and brown lives matter, are worthy, and can and will affect change. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to get on one knee. Get on one knee. And let's have a moment of silence for those black lives taken by those that were sworn to serve and protect their communities. Thank you. You know, when Elliot and Danny told me about this situation, I wanted to make sure that we talk about the things that are necessary when it comes to making sure and ensuring that Black Lives Matter today. We need to educate. The United States has been very used to having this uncomfortable conversation and sweeping it under the rug. But we will not stop. We will not stop educating. Can I hear you say that? We will not stop educating.
We will not stop educating.
Let me hear you say that again. We will not stop educating.
We will not stop educating.
Because that uncomfortable conversation is necessary. It is necessary for us to grow. It is necessary for us to reform. It is necessary for us to build upon the foundations of which this country was built upon. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let me hear you say that. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. I love that energy. Make some noise for yourselves. Make some noise for yourselves. Make some noise for yourselves. You know that there is no voice until the community has a voice, and the community is speaking right here. The community is speaking. Let me keep that up. Keep that energy up. Keep that energy up. Keep that energy up. Keep that energy up. We are here today for unity. We are here today for justice. We are here to uplift the Black experience, which has seen oppression for many long years, with promises that have not been kept. So we are here to educate those who remain complacent about making those promises kept, about keeping those promises kept. Let me hear your energy if you want that promise to be kept in America. Let me hear that energy if you want that promise to be kept in America. And we have no need for the violence. We only need peace, because peace is what education is. Peace comes with education. Let me hear you again. Education! 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 We will not focus on the subcategories. This is about a system. This is about the American system. This is about the foundations that this country was promised by. This is about peace. This is about love. This is about unity. This is about the melting pot that they talk about that we are in the history books. This is about the melting pot that they talk about when we read those history books. Remember, we are here to educate. We are here to change. We are here to motivate. And change starts with ourselves. Change starts within the community. Let me hear you if you know that change starts in the community. Let me hear you if you know that change starts in the community. I need to hear you loud. I need to hear you proud, because you are the community. All of you are the community. You might think that you are small, but together you will realize that through unity your voices are big. So let me make sure that you can hear that. Let me hear you shouting loud and proud. Let me make sure from this day forward you will educate, you will motivate, you will change, because you know that change starts with yourself. Let me make sure that you can hear that. Let me make sure that you can feel that. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have a lot of beautiful speakers here today. Make some noise as you're ready to hear the words of the black experiences of the community. Let me make sure that you can hear the words that will have us together for that unity. Let me hear that. Let me hear that. Let me hear that noise. That's right. And now, Kenneth will introduce the first speaker.
For our first speaker, we have Pastor Anthony bringing our invocation. Let's get a hand for Pastor Anthony.
Let us all bow our heads in a word of prayer. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity, because there are those who do not have the same opportunities that we have to assemble ourselves together to come against injustice. God, we thank you for these people that are here, these like-minded, like-hearted people that are here, God. We thank you for your protection, God, for the people that are here, God. We understand that there are forces that are trying to come against us, but we thank you that you are greater than all of these things, God. We thank you for each and every speaker that is coming forth. We thank you for each and every man, woman, and child that is here. We thank you for being able to assemble ourselves together and know that we are protected. We thank you for your protection as we even leave here, God, because it's not just here where we are facing persecution as a people. It is also out there. So we thank you for your hedge of protection that is around us. We thank you, and we come together on one accord in unity to fight against injustice. We come against everything that is unlike you, God. We come against everything that would come to divide. We come against everything that would come to separate, everything that would come to step down, to bring us down. We come against everything that is not like you. We come together touching and agreeing and joining in unity for those who have lost their lives to this unsenseless injustice. This unsenseless injustice against Black lives. We come together with prayers and uplifted hearts for the families of those who have lost loved ones. But we also come together thanking you in advance for what's going to come forward. We come before you thanking you in advance for everything that's going to be done as a result of this, because it doesn't just stop here. It continues after we leave here. So God, we thank you for your protection. We thank you for your love. We thank you for the love that we have in our hearts for each and every person that is here, regardless of their skin color.
Yes.
We give you praise and we give you glory, God. And we trust you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Beautiful word from a beautiful man of God. Next up, we have a local resident, someone although I might be a little taller and look down at him now, someone I used to look up at, always was a positive influence. Now he's a professional MMA fighter, former Jackson wrestler, BJ Young.
All right, everybody. I just want to start off thanking everyone for letting me be here for this opportunity. My name is BJ Young, or BJ Rican Rebel Young. That's my fight name. Like Kenny said, I grew up in Jackson, and I'm currently a professional MMA fighter. Growing up here, I played everything on these fields. Little League, Pop Warner, wrestling. And growing up in Jackson, I'm from a mixed family. My father is white, my mother's a Latina from Puerto Rico. I have cousins that are black and Puerto Rican. I have cousins that are full white. I have cousins that are full Latino. So from day one, from an early age, I learned about love. I learned that love is blind. Love has no boundaries. And that love is unstoppable. Because if it wasn't, then a person like me that is mixed wouldn't even exist. A person like me from two different races wouldn't be able to sit here and speak in front of all these wonderful people today.
Amen.
So in this time right now, sitting here, seeing everything that's going on in the world, I think of my cousins. I think of some of my best friends who are black. I think of some of my former coaches who were black. And I get filled with a lot of emotion. And the best way I know to get rid of that is to come out here and say what's on my mind and try to be a leader to my community. So I'm out here today, and I got a message for everybody. My message is about peace, and it's about love. So I'm sitting here in front of you all as a professional MMA fighter from this town that I grew up in. I'm asking every single one of you to today become a fighter. I'm asking every single one of you to fight for love, to fight for peace. You know, there's a lot of evil in this world right now, but as you look around, you see a lot of good too. When they try to bring chaos, we need to bring peace.
True.
When they try to bring anger, we need to bring optimism. When they try to spread fear, we need to spread hope. Love will conquer all. Love is the only thing that can beat hate.
Yes.
Okay? We're all here together. I want you to look around. I want you to see all these people of all ethnicities, of all colors, of all races, of all ages. When they try to oppress people, when they try to hold you down, I want you guys to remember these faces, because these are the very same faces that are trying to lift you back up. We need to stay together. We need to come together as one. We need to unite.
Unite.
Look at all these wonderful people here as one, for one common goal: to move forward, to all be created equal, to all be treated equal, to all be loved. We need to continue to move forward. We need to continue to move forward peacefully. If we do that, nothing is going to stop us. Like I said before, love is unstoppable. We need to continue to spread this love. We need to continue to fight, but we need to continue to fight the right way, the strategic way. We need to fight peacefully. We need to fight with love. And we need to let them know that no matter what, we're still here and we're still moving forward. You know, I've been blessed in this life. God has blessed me athletically. I've accomplished a lot of great stuff for this town. I was, 2010, I was the captain of the state championship wrestling team. I was the first NCAA All-American in Jackson history. I'm a professional fighter. But to be here today in front of my community, see all these people here coming together, this is one of the proudest moments of my life to be from Jackson.
Yes. Go Jaguars!
I want to thank you all for coming out. And I want you to remember, like I said, remember all these faces. You are loved. You are equal. And together as one, together united, we will get through this. Thank you.
Yes. Peace, brother.
A quick chant for our next speaker. I say, I stand. You say, with you. I stand.
With you.
I stand.
With you.
I stand.
With you.
I stand.
With you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, the president of the Rays of Hope Youth Organization, Alina DeZoiza.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Alina DeZoiza, and I'm 17 years old. I attend Jackson Memorial High School, and I'm a proud member and president of Rays of Hope. For those who don't know what Rays of Hope is, we are a grassroots youth organization focused on developing future leaders through community service and advocacy. We are an active organization that contributes to many communities throughout central New Jersey. During this pandemic, we held food donation drives and helped keep our Jackson food pantry stocked with food. We held workshops for children to help them cope with virtual learning. We are here, and we are present.
Nicely said.
These are just a few of the many things that we do. I have been a member of Rays of Hope for 6 years, and it has helped me in so many ways. But most importantly, it has helped me become a leader. I am here, and I am present.
Yes.
And so are all of you here today. The fight we are fighting is nothing new. Black Americans have been facing oppression and discrimination for over 400 years in this country.
Yes.
It is time we change a system that has gotten into the habit of villainizing a person based on their skin color. We need to break that system and start uncomfortable conversations about the state of our country. I thank each and every one of you here today who are open to that discussion. A discussion that so many people are afraid to have. Systematic oppression has been an institution in the United States of America that has tried to hold back Black and brown Americans from achieving something that white, affluent Americans can easily obtain. I've had classmates try and justify why these ideals are incorrect. I've had classmates say, if you don't like this country, then you can just leave. I've had classmates justify why the colonization of African countries by Europeans was because white people were more advanced, even though we know all of the first civilization developed was in Africa.
Yes.
Civilizations such as Mali, who birthed Mansa Musa, the most richest man on this earth ever. Or we could talk about the Carthage Empire that conquered Italy. We have a rich history that predates slavery.
Yes.
Slavery was not the beginning,
No.
and it isn't the end.
No.
I've had classmates say the N-word to my face and say that it's okay for them to say it. They
No,
try
it's
to
not.
justify that it's just a word and it doesn't hold meaning when it does.
Absolutely not.
That is the world we live in. But one, I will continue to fight and change. I fight for change in this country, and I'm glad to see so many people continue to stand together besides one another and change our world and the racist ideology that it's been running off of. I want to remind the class of 2020 and those who are over the age of 18 to please exercise your right to vote. Be the change you want to see. We have seen protests across every single 50 states in the United States of America. We see the passion that those people care about the state of our country and how important it is to fix the system. Make sure your voice is heard and vote for the ideals that you believe in. It was not even 60 years ago that this country fought for the right that we take advantage of today. Show this country that we are changing and will continue to change to fight for equality and representation. I want to thank the organizers of today's event for giving me the opportunity to use this platform and use my voice. I will end with this. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about the things that matter." We matter. This matters. Thank you.
Black lives always matter.
Stand up here at a 17-year-old. That's definitely not easy. Give that young lady a round of applause. I hope you're paying attention. The last thing she said was, "We matter." So we're going to say, Black Lives Matter.
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 Next up, we have a word from the Jackson Police Department, headed by Chief of Police, Chief Coon.
Where is it?
He's out protecting our town right now, so we're going to give him a round of applause anyways. Next up, we have two local residents of this beautiful town, Shania and Robert Taylor.
How you guys doing?
Good.
My dad couldn't make it, so it's just me. My name's Shania. I'm from Toms River. I'm 21 years old. And I want to start by thanking God for allowing us to be here today and for being with us as we fight for our voices to be heard. Truthfully, I think it's crazy. I think it's sad that if you look back to 1954 when the Civil Rights Movement began, it doesn't look different from 2020, from today.
No.
The pictures look the same. We're still fighting for the same things. Fighting to be able to walk along the street and not be racially profiled and murdered. Fighting to live in our homes without being racially profiled and murdered. fighting to breathe without being racially profiled and murdered. You know, we all are born into this world thinking that we all have the same opportunities, to win, to succeed, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of the color of your skin. That's not true. Okay, 76.9% of Americans are white, and they're born into the American dream. 12.1% of us, our skin color is black, and we live in a nightmare. We're born into the American nightmare. And this is something that, you know, we don't like to speak our truth, but this is something that needs to be heard. And just because you speak your truth doesn't mean that you're speaking hate. You're speaking truth. People just don't like to hear it. You know, I grew up in Ocean County my entire life, and I remember my brother was 16 years old when he was pulled over right in Ocean County because he fit the description. 6'4", light skin, dreads, pulled over in the pouring rain with a gun pointed to his head by a police officer because he fit the description. You know, and these are things that it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter your age, your gender. These are things that we all experience, whether you're a woman, whether you're a male, whether you're a kid. Christopher L. Hayes said, there are fundamentally two ways you can experience the police in America. As the people you call when there's a problem, the nice man in uniform who pats a toddler's head and has an easy smile for the old lady as she buys her coffee. For others, the police are the people who are called on them. They are the ominous knock on the door, the sudden flashlight in the face, the barked orders. Depending on who you are, the sight of an officer can produce either a warm sense of safety and contentment or a plummeting feeling of terror. You know, another thing I do want to address is that oftentimes I hear, you know, do you know what cops go through? Do you know what cops experience? It's not just you guys who experience it. At the end of the day, when you're a police officer and you put on that uniform and you put on your badge, you know your job description. Your job description is to serve and protect. Anything other than that, that's not a part of your job. You know, I just need everyone out here to know their worth. I need everyone out here to know your power. People of color, we come from kings and queens. Don't forget this. You know, it's time to reclaim your power, and it's time to infiltrate the system that has oppressed us. You know, you look around, how many black officers do you see? How many black lawyers do you see? How many black doctors do you see? How many people do you see, black-owned businesses in Ocean County? Because I don't know a lot of them. You know, we can't sit here and expect the change unless we make the change ourselves. So teach your kids to do something. Teach your kids to know their worth. Teach your kids their power. Because it's not until we start owning things that we start infiltrating the system that we're going to see a change. You know, Breonna Taylor is 27 years old.
Yes.
Trayvon Martin was 17 years old. Sandra Bland, 28 years old. George Floyd, 46 years old. Ahmaud Arbery, 25 years old. These are people who are just wrongly murdered for the color of their skin. And I'm tired of it. It's no reason why every single time that I walk out, I feel like people are looking at me, people are judging me, that I'm fearing for my little brother's life, that God forbid he's pulled over because he fits the description. It's not right. It's time to make a change. And I just want to say racism, prejudice, and hate have no gender. They have no color. And I need everyone out here to think about the words that you say. When you say Black Lives Matter, mean the words that you say. When you're screaming, I can't breathe, understand where it's coming from. You know, when you say no justice, no peace, mean it. This isn't just a one-day thing. This isn't just a week thing. This is a revolution. This has to continue. Everyone coming together has to continue. So I just want to end and tell everyone to stand on everything that you say and stand on everything that you do. And let's keep fighting for justice.
All right. Yeah.
I think a quick quote that I've heard continuously at growing up: match your words with your actions. So when you say those words, put those into action. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Next up, now he's taking time out of his day. We thank him very much. Chief of Jackson Police, Chief Coons.
Good afternoon. I have a few prepared remarks. So we don't miss anything important. This is an important day.
Yes, it is.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Chief Matthew Kunz of the Jackson Township Police Department. And on behalf of Jackson Township, welcome to Johnson Park. My thanks to Messrs. Elliot Bell and Daniel Nyblack for your respectful and transparent collaboration in preparing for this event. At all times, it is important for a community and the law enforcement agency that serves them to be well engaged, not simply during an emergency or in times of crisis. Our nation has a long history not only of authoring laws intended to ensure equality, peace, prosperity, and tranquility, but also for organizing to exercise these principles and rights. Founding Father James Madison, a noted framer of the United States Constitution, is quoted as saying, "No nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare." That sentiment could not ring more truly than at the present as groups such as this one today rally for peace. In further support of those ideals, the eloquent and time-tested 45 words of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution specifically guarantee both the freedom of speech, which includes your speech, and the right of the people peaceably to assemble. I stand with you today on the common ground that the men and women of the Jackson Township Police Department, the elected officials of the township, and all of our community members share in the belief that our constitutional concept that all men are created equal, as penned by Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence, remains as important, if not sacred today, as it did in 1776. We stand with you for dignity. We stand with you for peace. Our mission as a police, and Justice, I got you. Our mission as a police department today is not simply to support peaceable assembly, but also to stand with you, to stand with everyone that supports our God-given right to enjoy equality and peace.
Take a kneel.
So again, thank you for your message of peace today, and may God bless us all as we carry that message forward. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now a moment of reflection from UFC fighter Corey Anderson.
Woo! Ole!
What's going on, everybody? First, I want to thank the people for having me out here. Unlike you guys, I'm not from here. I'm from Rocks, Illinois. Give you a little quick background. I was the only black kid in an all-white neighborhood, so I grew up with this. You know, a lot of people ask me, does this stuff affect you when the race and all that happens? It's kind of to the point where you say it's common, and it's not a good thing. It shouldn't be common, but my whole life I grew up with it. A little different also. I have a white wife, and we have a mixed baby. And she didn't believe it was that big of a deal until she got pulled over with me here before, and the officer came to her window and asked, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And every girl looking at me like, "Are you serious?" And I told her, "It's normal." Like, I'm used to these things. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. And I had a conversation with my church group this morning. It was, if you think about it comes back from when we were slaves. They built us to be strong, dangerous, the ones that worked hard. And that's what they want. That's what we paid for. And we were bred into that. And it still stays us today. Look at me. I'm 6'3". I'm 240. I barely smile. So when a cop sees me, he's threatened. His first offense is he's not going to defend himself. If something happens, he's thinking, get his gun. And at the same time, I don't want to sit there and point the finger and say every cop is like that, but there are some out there that are scared for their life. When that happens, they just shoot. They do what they can to save themselves to get them home to their family, not knowing that we're nonviolent. Growing up, I got pulled over so many times, so many things. 10 minutes after curfew, but I'm 21 years old, and they pull me, search me, put me in handcuffs, check the whole car, because I was black. You never know. In college, I got pulled over every other week on my way to the next campus. Why? Because I was black. And teachers didn't believe it, but I had classmates that was behind me that would say, no, Miss Starks, he gets pulled over quite often just because I got a nice car, and I was a black kid, black, athletic built. And now being successful as an athlete, it still doesn't change. It's the same thing. It's even worse. Again, I'm a country boy. I hunt. I do different things that most black people do. So when I go into a sporting goods store, or I'm carrying my gun or my bow and arrow, whatever it is, I'm looked at different. I'm a threat. I go out behind my house. I got people, neighbors. Some of them don't know me, and I can see they sit on their porch watching me. And I call a cop friend, let them know just in case something go down. These people watch me out in the woods right now. I'm just out here. I'm trying to provide for my family, but being a black person, you're looked at different than everybody else. And like you said, all lives matter. Like Shania, I believe her name Shania, she said her brother was pulled over and they said he fit the description. I had that story happen so many times. And you tell people, they don't believe it because they're not black. They never understand. I got a business partner now, he calls me all the time. What can we do to make this go away? How can we fix this? Like, you'll never understand unless you was in my skin. It's not going to fit. You can't just snap your finger and just wait for it to happen. Right. It is sad. It is sad. In this place that I am, I feel like it's my job to use my soapbox and speak. I got followers, people that see me. I got to voice my opinion. I got to voice things to make it happen. We can do things to make a change, but we can't make a change until the people change themselves. We all heard the cliche. But again, they will never understand until they are in our shoes. Again, it's a tough pill to swallow. Like I said, I got a son now. I'd already raise my son, let him know this is going to be common. The first time he get pulled over and realize, Dad, what's going on, and we did nothing wrong, what do I tell him? It's because we're black, son. And again, he looks more like his mother. He's more light-skinned than anything. By the end of the day, when he takes his ACT test, they're not going to say, are you black and white? It's going to say black, and that's what he has to check. So that's going to have to go with him the rest of his life, so it's hard. It's hard. A 30-year-old black man is where it's hard. I did everything right. Never been arrested. You check my record, anybody, no criminal background, never did anything, give back. I spend my time, I do speaking, things like this, engagements. I go back, talk to middle schools, elementary schools, colleges, businesses, everywhere, help them live their life better, to be successful, do things I did to be where I am. But no matter what, when they see me, I'm just a black face. I get teammates, some of them at the gym, oh, you're the whitest black guy I know, this is this, and I laugh about it. I tell them, yeah, but let me get pulled over. I'm black. It doesn't matter what you say, how I live. I golf, I fish, I hunt. I do the things that a white man is supposed to do. But who says a black man can't do that as well? We're all people. All lives matter. We're all the same. We're all granted with the same opportunity, the same thing that the next man, the next woman, the next kid, the next person. And I was just that kid that took advantage of that growing up. I learned everything. My father always told me, rub elbows with the white man. Rub elbows with the white man. Learn that. Everything you learn from is going to stick between your mind. I'm 30 years old, and I remember every word my father told me as a kid. And I take it every day, and I want my wife and my son to see that. You don't have to fit a description because you're black. I know a lot of kids, the black kids I grew up, still think we gotta have our pants down because that's what we do. We're the N-words. I try to say that word, but we're niggas. I want to have my pants down and sag, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to be that life. You can change. You can be different. But at the same time, you're still gonna be looked at as a black man. So you gotta do things to present yourself when you get into that case, that situation with a cop, that hopefully they give you a chance to defend yourself, to tell your story, to let you know what's going on. Hopefully they don't shoot you. Hopefully they let you breathe. Right. It's a tough situation. Like I said, I'm 30 years old and I've been in the UFC since I was 23, so I've been around the world, and everywhere I've been, it's been the same story. I've been to Brazil, I've been to London, I've been to Germany, and everywhere you go, there's always going to be somebody in there that's white, or another race is going to look at you a little different because you're black. And especially me, like I said, look at my bill. If you were a cop and you pulled up on me, what's the first thing you're going to be defensive? Like, this is a big black dude. He's not smiling. Is he going to be a threat? Can I trust him? You know, but the main thing I can do, other than continue to be black, is I just put faith in God.
Yes.
Every black person here, I know we grew up in that. You grew up in that home with Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer. And I don't know what religion all you guys are, but at the end of the day, if you put the faith in God's hands, this is all His world. So at the end of the day, get on your knees, you pray. Pray for justice, pray for help. I put a post up there and said, Lord, we need you more now than ever.
Yes,
help
we
us,
do.
please. Amen.
Amen.
Let me make sure y'all keeping that energy up. Keep that energy up. Keep that energy up. Keep that energy up. You know, we've had a lot of talking today about making sure that you use your rights. So here's to tell you something. The Raise a Hope stand, they're going to be helping people register to vote. If you are not registered to vote and you want to exercise that privilege in the general election that is coming up this year, then I better see you over there. I want to make sure that you're using that right to vote. I want to make sure that you're using that right to vote. I want to make sure that you're exercising your right to vote. Just like right now, you are exercising your right to get together for assembly. Y'all ready to chant?
Yeah.
Y'all ready to chant as a united group?
Yeah.
Y'all ready to do that? Well, then united we stand, divided we fall. Can I hit him with that right here? I can't breathe.
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 Hands up.
Don't shoot.
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 And now, pastor from the local ministry Living Word Christian Fellowship, Pastor Miller, will say some words.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My most profound thanks for all of you that are here, and particularly those of you that are white. I'm grateful that you're here. Thank you for coming out today. Thank you for choosing to be more human than American. Thank you for making your humanity shine. Thank you for putting your humanity above culture and your humanity above race. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm a pastor in the Lord's church for the last 33 years. And I'm proud of that, and I wouldn't want to be anything else. But unfortunately, I need to lay a lot of the blame for where we are on the church, and particularly the white evangelical church. Our president the other day, in his usual racist tone, spoke about the coronavirus and called it the Chinese virus. Well, can we talk about the American virus?
Yes. Speak. Speak up.
Woo! This nation was born infected with the virus of racism.
Yes.
It is more deadly than coronavirus, SARS, Ebola, and all of that combined.
Yes.
It is the most deadly virus known to man because it affects the soul.
Yes.
It spreads through human contact, family relationships, innate hatred, and even ordaining bigots as pastors. It has infected millions of Americans in the loss of compassion and humanity, and they are no longer horrified by seeing black bodies in the street. It is clearly hereditary because Donald Trump's parents should be posthumously prosecuted for unleashing this kind of evil on civilization. The American virus, it infected the NFL. When a prophet, my frat brother, stood up and said to them, listen, this is a problem. You can't do this. If we had listened to Kaepernick, we might have saved George Floyd. We might have saved Breonna Taylor. We might have saved Ahmaud Arbery. But we didn't. And the reason we didn't is because we were infected with the American virus. Ahmaud encountered 2 men who tested positive for the American virus. George Floyd encountered 4, even though 3 were asymptomatic. Once infected, blacks become a threat. Your humane systems become compromised. Your sense of self-worth becomes unduly elevated. Your capacity for empathy and compassion are severely damaged. And as we have seen, it will even distort the Jesus that you claim to serve. This virus is a deadly killer. It kills people. It kills communities. It kills dreams. It kills relationships. It kills hopes. It kills dreams. And if we are not careful, it will kill this experiment we call America. It has permeated every aspect of American life. We all have to listen to the news, and we see a wonderful foundation called the Towers to Tunnel Foundation, and it pays off the mortgages and pay the tuition for every police officer that's killed in the line of duty. And I'm here today to ask for the foundation who pays off the mortgages and the tuition for every black person that those officers kill in the line of duty. Nobody's asking that question. And when we have the audacity to stand up and say, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, we are met with the insensitive, unchristian, ignorant retort of all lives matter. You know what that's like? That's like you calling the fire department to your house and your neighbors complaining that your house needs attention too. Yes, your house is important, but it is not on fire right now. So we need to deal with the house that is on fire. If we say a racist cop should be arrested, you tell us, but there are so many other good cops. Listen, when Jerry Sandusky molested those boys, nobody said, well, there are a whole bunch of good coaches out there. When that Dr. Larry Nassar molested all those kids, nobody said, what about all the good coaches? But whenever we say that if you kill a black man and if you stay on his neck even after he is unresponsive and dead, we say, well, you're coming against all the other good cops. No, we're not talking about all the good cops, because there are 2 sets of cops right now. There are good cops and there are bad cops, and silent cops are bad cops. The bad cops. Let me try to bring this in. Drew Brees finally gave an apology. Welcome to the Enlightenment, Drew. But what took you so long? I'll tell you what took you so long. It's who you're listening to on Sunday morning. It's your brand of white evangelical Christianity that has taught you the foolishness that after all this time you had no idea that it was unchristian to be racist. Drew, let me help you. Somebody ought to say it in America that you cannot be a Christian and a racist, because to be a Christian racist, let me say this, to be a Christian racist is like being a New England Jet fan. There is no such team. There's no such team. There's no such team. And somebody need to get up and say, we need to pick a team. Rand Paul this week voted against, in 2020, making lynching illegal. Why is lynching still legal in America, and you're trying to tell us that we're making noise for no reason? We just need to call it out and call it for what it is. Franklin Graham, the son of Billy Graham, American white evangelical Santa Claus, and I love Billy, God rest his soul, but he should have did a better job raising Franklin. Franklin Graham came out and said that the president should be applauded for his little photo op in front of the church, and anybody that is talking against him should be applauding him. Franklin Graham is a New England Jet fan, and somebody needs to let him know know he need to pick a team. He's either going to be Christian or he's going to be not. Let me just try to finish this. Let's be very careful. If I was preaching, I'd get 3 closings, but I'm just going to take one today.
Preach!
Listen.
Preach! Preach! Take your time! Take your time!
Let's call them all out while we at it. There's Brother Mike Pence, who is such a Christian, and his Christianity is only defined by abortion and same-sex marriage. He never read 1 John about love of neighbor. He never remembered the gospel where they asked Jesus a simple question, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus said, the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart. And he said, but the second goes with it, and it's to love your neighbor like yourself. What Jesus was saying, you can't love God until you learn how to love your neighbor, because love your God hinges on love your neighbor. And we need to tell these fake white evangelical Christians that the Christianity you follow from the beginning of America has never been biblical Christianity.
Yes!
The Right Reverend Huckabee. The Right Reverend Huckabee espouses a Christianity that will stand up for the unborn, but not for those born black.
Yes!
Reverend Paula White. Reverend Paula White, advisor to the president, made a whole fortune preaching foolishness to black people who wouldn't read their Bibles. And somebody need to call her today and says, if you're going to be true to the gospel that you preach, you need to tell your boss he's a bigot and he must change his mind.
Yes!
Let's just call it what it is and just be honest about it. Donald Trump could only be a Christian in racist America. I've been all over this world preaching this gospel. I've been to every continent in the world, and he would not qualify to be a Christian any place else. It's only in racist America that Donald Trump can be a Christian. How the devil you gonna be a Christian and you talking about that you don't repent to nobody and you don't apologize? If you've been to Sunday school one day, you know you can't be saved until you repent. Listen, I think it was Stokely Carmichael who said this. He said, nonviolence only works. It only works if the perpetrator has a conscience.
Yes.
Let me say that again. Nonviolence only works if the perpetrator has a conscience. And this is why I have to speak to my peers. This is why I have to speak to my fellow pastors and my fellow bishops and apostles and potentates and popes. We have to handle our business, because if nonviolence is going to work, those of us that are charged with framing the conscience of the nation have to step up and stop wrapping our racism in the American flag and in patriotism and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ so people's hearts can be turned and people's hearts can be changed. We need a biblical Christianity and not an American Christianity. And if you go to one of those churches, go find you a new church. Get out of there in Jesus' name and find you someplace that's going to tell the truth. You can't have both, folks. You can't have both.
No.
And you can't hide behind patriotism as if we say something is wrong, it's because we somehow are just whining for no reason. And the regular retort, if you don't like it, leave it. Well, let me just fix that. Both of us broke in the same house.
Exactly. Again.
So if anybody need to leave, we both need to leave, because neither one of us belong here.
Yes.
But what makes you think it's your house and you need to tell me to leave? I'll leave right behind you. You don't belong here either. Both of us stole this thing. And that's not even fully true, because you stole it and stole me while you were still here. See, we don't want to deal with the plain truth. We just want to get together and join hands and just sing. Listen, we've been through all the revivals. We've been through Promise Keepers. We've been through everything. And we got together in stadiums and held hands and sang Kumbaya and went back home to our racist ways and put our sheets back on right after we let our hands go. And now we're saying, where has this been? It's because of your fake Christianity that you've been peddling for so long. And if we're going to fix this, we've got to get back to true biblical Christianity. Thank you. God bless you.
Keep that energy up. Keep that energy up. Keep that love up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Remember, we will educate them. Let me hear you say that. Education. 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 We will educate them. We're educating them right now. We are educating them right now, being together. Let me hear you. We are educating them, being together right now. Let me hear that energy. Let me see that love. Let me see those applause. Let me see those cheers. Let me see it from the front to the back. Let me see it. Let me see it. And now, a moment of reflection from the community, local resident, Sean Gertner.
Come on, Sean.
Let me hear it, Jackson. Let's hear it. We are here today to stand together. We are here today to stand together. Today, I am here with a simple message and a simple mission to represent those who feel a single voice cannot effectuate change. To lend support to those without a congregation or a constituency who believe standing up to injustice will not make a difference. It does make a difference. Yes. To and for you, I say, do not despair. Do not give up. The tide of history is on our side. Yes. It is on our side because together, with one voice, we proclaim that Black Lives Matter. Now, as the Reverend said, right? That is not to the conclusion of others. But it is to ensure and stand with those living so that in Black lives, we support the aspirations of us all. I know this because I know Charlottesville. That's where I went to school. And I know what it meant to be in Charlottesville. And I know, in my tradition, those folks in those sheets would have came after me first. We stand together against racism and injustice for all. Now I have to leave it to the pastors who are much better prepared than I to connect us to our God. But I must say, however, particularly to the young people who worked so hard to put this together, that we are in a transitional moment. Death, we know, should not have been necessary, but we must promise it is not in vain. As Cheney, Goodwin, and Schwerner's death led us to the civil rights movement, today we owe it to them and to George Floyd and others. But most importantly, as we are living to ourselves, that the awful actions that caused his death sweep us to a revival in civic action, dedicated to what is a fundamental object of our Constitution. The right to expect and demand equal treatment with equal access to opportunity. We've heard all the folks talking about education. Education is the key. No one here, unless no one believes, there's not a single person here who's expecting a free pass. We are here today precisely because we know that freedom is not free. But in the continual evolution of guaranteeing the aspirations of the Constitution, this is a call to continue the participation and also the challenge, and to challenge the powerful. As David says in the Psalms, maintain justice and do righteousness at all times. So remember, folks, when we kneel to respect our freedoms and our voice. But we do not bow. We only bow to God. So we stand today, and lift our voice to the better angels. We stand today and pledge to do the hard work to ensure equal opportunity and equal access in exchange for the pledge to receive equal application of the law, because Black Lives Matter. Now, often I have this thought, and my good friend is about to also talk to you, Pastor Bradley. We went to school together, and we share this often, and it's really with a sadness. My family's been in this county since 1919, and it's not for me now, it's not the right place to go through what my grandfather and my parents have done for justice. But Tom and I speak, and we shake our heads sometimes because we came from a Lakewood that knew problems. We're not naive that there were problems, but we came from a Lakewood that projected to the world a single school system that we believe did provide people, Black and white, Jew and Gentile, with programs and exposure to reach our potentials. Our fight today, our fight in the elections, our fight next year is to continue that fight. We need equal access to education. Now, equal access to education is not just about money. Money, as the pastors will tell you, can be the root of all evils. But it's too easy of a measure. Today, folks, it's about the challenge and hard work to implement the aspiration of our founding documents, secured by the First and 14th Amendments. Rise up for education. Rise up for opportunity. And I'll end with this. We stand today and we stand together with the knowledge that as we stand, each of us working in our best efforts to repair the world, the darkness will turn to light, believing as we do that our voices will ring with the harmonies of liberty. As deep in all our hearts, we do believe that in this death, this most recent death, that death was not in vain. And together, folks, we shall overcome. Stay focused, stay positive. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now, another moment of reflection from local resident and teacher, Mr. Bradley.
Let's go, Mr. Bradley! Let's go, Mr. Bradley.
Not as limber as I used to be. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
many of you know, yes, I've just completed 32 years of teaching, 30 of them in Jackson.
Whoa.
And I'm going to start off with a story. 1993-94, I was teaching at Getz Middle School. And I was teaching 6th grade. I'd just been transferred from 8th grade to 6th grade. And it's the third day of school. I'll never forget, it's Thursday, walk in the building, sign in, building principal says, Tom, I got to talk to you. I go in, I'm like, it's third day of school, what can I do already to get in trouble? And sit down, and she says to me, Johnny's being taken out of your class. I'm thinking to myself, so, okay, I couldn't have given too much homework at this point. And she says, do you know why? I have no clue. And she just looks at me and she says, do you know why Johnny's being taken out of your class? I said, no, I have no idea. And she looks at me one more time and she says, do you know why he's being taken out of your class? And it hit me, okay, in 1993, that a child was being taken out of my class because he had a black teacher. And I want to talk to you today about the educational system, because police officers, by the time they get to the academy, their values are already set for the most part. Our educational system is failing us, and it's failing them. And we have to show them something different so that when they get through 12 years of public school education, they have a different perception, because the perception that they get going through is flawed. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This is what the Bible says. Now, what I say is what I say. The problem is the training. How is the child trained up? And that is the problem, because if the child is taught hatred at home, is taught that people of a different color at home don't matter, that they're not equal, then that child will take that and run with it. And if they enter kindergarten and they never see a black or Hispanic teacher, and they go through elementary school and they never see a black or Hispanic teacher, and they go through high school and they never see a black or Hispanic teacher or a teacher of color, guess what they believe when they get out of high school? Must be true. Black or Hispanics aren't smart enough to be teachers or be professionals. And on the opposite end, what does that do to the black or the other child of color?
In the world, when the young people saw that what they were being told was not aligning with what they were seeing. And I have news for you. They're not listening to you. What you're doing is speaking too loud. You're telling them to have character, to love people, to be kind. But what are you showing them? What you're doing is speaking so much louder than what you say. So no matter what we say here today, you know, my kids are here. They're going to watch me tomorrow. What about tomorrow? Where are we going to be tomorrow? Are we going to be on the front line of this issue here? Are we going to be doing something to make a change? Because there must be a change. And I want to tell you, it's all about unity. Anyone knows that to win a great battle, you must have unity. Anyone that wants to defeat you, they simply know divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Them over there and we're over here, divide and conquer. Those that desire to see that happen would hate to see the picture that I'm looking at right now. Black people, white people, Hispanic people, people of all nationalities. Some may be rich, some may be poor, but we're all in it together. And we have made up our mind, no more will we be silent. No longer will we be silent. I'm going to close with there's a scripture in the Bible. Two are always better than one. Because if one falls, the other one can reach down and pick him up. You know, with these two new knees I have, my sons had to help me get up here. Or I'd be still down there trying to talk to you. But it says if one falls, the other can pick him up. And it says a threefold cord is not easily broken. If we make this a cord, if we don't leave this place and go back to our separate corners and only deal with our folks, and you deal with your folks. But if we become a cord, Jackson can be a start of something awesome.
that we see happening around this world. I thank the young people that put this together. You started it, but it's up to the rest of us to finish it. We love you, and we thank God for you. God bless you, man.
God bless you.
And now, a brief word from the Director of New Jersey Reentry.
I know I don't look like I'm pushing 50 in 6 months, but I am. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I just wanted to remind everyone about registering to vote. If you are not aware, as of March 17, 2020, if you are on parole and or on probation, you can vote. It is so important to get out and vote. We need to register to vote. I know the table is the table still up? Table is still up, so you can register to vote. If you don't do it today, go online. You can register to vote. Additionally, we talked about education. We talked about being consistent. But I also want to remind everyone here the importance of criminal justice reform. What I do every day is I see black and brown people every day. We need criminal justice reform. So please, please, please register to vote. Get out there. It's not just in your major elections. You need to be making moves on the local level. In closing, Census 2020. I know people forget how important that is. It is so important that you take the census. The reason being, those dollars will come to the towns that you're in. If we don't know you're here, you cannot be counted. We need those resources, so get out and vote. Take your census. Talk about criminal justice reform and social reform. God bless. Take care.
And that's right. We are here to make new leaders, to inspire new leadership. If you are not comfortable with your vote, run. Run for office. It starts with you. Nobody can do anything for you but yourself. But right now, we have unity. We have our last speaker before we start walking. I would inspire everyone that if you are in need of refreshment as we walk together, to gather that now, but make sure to keep your ears open. For we now have Pastor Gross from the Word from the local ministry, Hope Cathedral. Thank you.
We began just by remembering, and I want to end first by remembering. So I want you to bow your head and let's take a moment. George Floyd. Breonna Taylor. Ahmaud Arbery. And countless others. Today we stand as one people and one voice to not only reject the injustice born out of hate, but to also demonstrate the meaning of love because of hope. The hope that is realized on this field today as we all agree that Black lives do indeed matter. As we stand on this field today to say, I am my brother's keeper. As we gather together on this field to say that humanity in and of itself is worth standing up for. It's the hope that makes each one of us indebted to the other and responsible for the other. It's the hope born out of love. I need you to hear me. This kind of love that gives of self. The kind of giving that's sacrificial because it expects nothing in return. It's a love that each one of us have demonstrated today just by being here. And it is a love that we must all consciously and intentionally continue if our time today is to make any real difference or to make any lasting impact. In other words, when we leave this place, you and me, we must determine to acknowledge others when it's easy to dismiss them. We must determine to consider the heart, the character of the person, and not the outward appearance. That we each would initiate warm greetings even when it feels awkward. That we each would be fair regardless of preconditioned bias. In other words, that we would each try. That we would try even when it's hard. See, that's what it means to live with a hope born out of love. A hope that considers the past, but it works towards a new and better future. I believe it's possible. I believe it's possible. I wonder, do you believe if it's possible?
We believe.
I believe it's possible because I've seen people of different race salvage friendship out of love. I've watched whites come into what was my predominant black church, and they found a home. A place where all are affected or all are accepted and loved. I've watched as Latinos painted murals for the slain that whole communities have embraced. I've watched as the people of France and London and Israel marched for Black America. And I've watched you today. I've watched you shout with conviction while standing side by side. So this hope born out of love, it is possible. It is possible for you. It's possible for me. It is possible for us. It's possible when each of us choose to treat others the way we want to be treated. When each one of us remember the pain so that we don't inflict it on another. When each one of us remember the fallen so that we're not indifferent to those who live. This is the hope born out of love. And you, I'll say it again, and you are why it's possible. Not just by your marching, but by your decision to hope. Your decision to hope enough for a better future. That you're willing to live day by day through love. Father, I commit every person under the sound of my voice unto you. And I thank you for giving each one of us eyes to see our neighbor. For giving us eyes to see and a heart that cares. Where we won't be hardened in heart, but Lord, that by your grace we would love enough so that we respond in deed and in truth. In Jesus' name, I invite the believers to say, Amen. Amen. No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
You got that.
And now, the members of your community who I had the privilege to work with to put this together, and we need to thank them. They're going to speak right now. Danny Nye Black and Elliot Bell.
just be quick, because, you know, I feel like we got something to do. And I just want to thank every single one of you for coming out here, because I grew up here. I lived here since 2002. My parents had a house built here in Hampshire Hills. I've been here ever since. I played basketball. Played basketball right over here, behind these courts here. And ever since I was a little kid, even through the school system, I see some of my racist friends. Like, I recognize that at a really young age. And it almost like my MMA dude said over here, he said it was regular. It's regular. And it shouldn't be regular. And days before this, I was just after status after status after status, just angry about everything that was going on. So then I'm like, yo, we got to do something. Like, what can I do? What can I do? And then I saw Asbury was having a protest, and I thought about, I'm like, I want to go to Asbury's protest. I've never been to a protest before. Like, let me just go and check it out. But then I was like, nah, maybe not. So then my boy Dan here, he gave me a phone call. He said, Bell, we got to do something. So I was like, yeah, let's do something. When are we going to march in Jackson? When are we going to have something in Jackson? Because we need this.
That's right.
Every time anybody from anywhere else talks about Jackson, hey, that racist town.
Yeah.
I'm here today to change that. You know, when they talk about Jackson, New Jersey, they're going to say, they got some great people there. They got some black people there. They got some white people there. They got a little bit of everything. But they love each other, and they stand together as a community, and that's what I wanted to do today. And you guys made that happen. I want to say thank you.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Good.
I just want to start off by saying, I'm black, and I'm proud. You feel me? I said I'm black, and I'm proud. Can't nobody take that away from me. But let me calm down real quick. I just want get me riled up. But I just want to thank everybody for coming out, for real. I did not think we was going to get this many people to support, so another hand clap. I just want to thank everybody who put this together. We got some behind the scenes people. Can y'all just walk up here for me, please? Y'all got to be recognized. Y'all got to be recognized. Yes. Kiki, you come and do it right. Come on. Yeah, I'm going to give it to these people. But thank you guys for coming out, for real. I don't have a lot to say because I want to march, but I'm going to let every single one of these people get something to say. So.
Like I said, I'm just thankful to see people of all different ethnicities, races, backgrounds, ages, sizes, colors, whatever you may have out here today to support not a issue that we believe in, but an issue that is right.
What's going on, everybody? I want to thank you all for coming out here tonight. And I want to thank you all for the beautiful conversations that we are going to have here as we walk, and the conversations that we've had on the Facebook group. I specifically remember somebody saying something about bricks. Each and every one of us here is a brick. And we have the choice to build, or we have the choice to destroy. And we know that this right and what we are doing right here is right. It is good because it feels good. So we are building upon the foundation. We are modernizing the foundation. We are reforming America just by stepping on this grass that we have here. And I want to thank you all for being a part of that. I want to thank you all for being a part of that.
Hey, everybody. Hey. When I look around, it feels like a reunion. I see my brother's friends from back in the day.